The gear needed to fish trout can be very basic. In fact, I remember as a kid just breaking off an alder branch beside the river and chasing those brook trout with a string, a hook, and a little bit of worm. If you'd rather upgrade from a branch, you can pick up one of these. I use an open face. It's a light action spinning rod with 6 to 10 pound line, 8-pound line. I mean, you're not catching, brook trout are not huge, right? So you can use this. I like it because you can kind of cast into little spots with an open face. Pretty easy. So I'm gonna show you how to rig this up. It's very simple. I use a swivel on almost all of my lines just to keep it from tangling, and especially if you're doing small casts and things with an open face, you don't want to have a whole lot of twist in the line. So a swivel is a great way to do that. And you can just do a swivel and a hook. Now, I use these snelled hooks. They come pre-packaged, and they're super easy. They have little bait barbs on them to keep the worm on them. They're just pre-packaged, and so you can get those, and you can hook those on the swivel, add your worm, and you're ready to go fishing. A lot of times around here, you will use a spinner and to attract the fish. So it's a little bit more than a passive type of fishing. It's a little more active, where you will attach a spinner onto your swivel and then use the snell line. So there's different types of spinners and spoons that you can use. Small one, these ones are appropriately sized for the brooks around here. You don't need a big one. It's just to add a flash in the water as you're pulling it through, and it will help attract those fish. So you can simply just grab the spinner, attach it to the swivel, and then if you get these pre-made hooks, you can also just tie on a hook. I mean, I just use them because they're super easy, and they have those little bait barbs on the hook. So, and you're ready to go right there with a swivel, spinner, and a hook. Anyway, we recently went fishing for trout, and I used this setup. And a friend of mine who was with me, he used a different setup. And so what I want to do is I want to show you what that is. And I have the tank here because I wanted to see if what he had said they do actually works. And so we're going to take a look at what a worm on a hook looks like underwater to those fish. And this is the type of setup that I recreated. I think he ordered them somewhere, but they're easy to make. They were adjustable so that the front hook, it's a 2-hook system, so the front hook can actually slide up and down the leader, if you can see that, up and down the leader, so that you can attach various size worms and with 2 hooks. And so the idea is that with this adjustable, that the worm can have a more natural look in the water as opposed to just a hook with a gob of worm on it. So we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to show you how to make one of these, and then we're going to put a worm on each and put it in the tank and take a look at it. So let me show you how to make one first off. And I'm just going to use some oversized things just because I want you to see what it's like. So this is a more appropriately sized hook. They're probably number 6 hooks, and they're just long straight shank hooks that I'm going to use for trout fishing, but I'm going to throw in a couple big ones here. I suppose you could use it in different size as well, just so we can see. So I'm going to use big thick line and big thick hooks so that we can actually see how to build this adjustable two hook system for live bait and worms. All right. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to snip off a small section, probably 6 to 8 inches long. You're going to need that to attach the top hook. Then you have your leader line, and I would go, another 12 inches there to create your leader. We're going to put a loop at the top when we're done, because we'll do that when we're done to adjust the size. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to slide that hook on the leader line for the front hook, and then you're going to attach the second hook. Now, I have a video out there on the clinch knots, the Palomar knots, and the perfection loop. These are the ones you'll need here. Wet the knot, but you should lubricate the knot to make sure that it seats properly. So you should have something that looks like this. So we're going to take this small piece that you cut previously, we're going to run it through the eye, make a loop, a decent sized loop with lots of in the tag, and actually include the leader line so that it actually like wraps on itself here. So what you're going to do for snelling, you can check out some videos on snelling if you'd like. I can make one if you want. But you're just going to wrap 5, 6, 7 times, whatever makes you most comfortable. And then when you're done, poke the tag end through that end that you made. And then pull your line. So you should have a nice tight, cut the tags off. So really you've just snelled this first hook onto the leader line like this. And because you've snelled it on, it's tight enough that it will move around on your leader and stay relatively in the same position. So you could attach this onto one part of your bait and this hook onto the other part of your bait and know that you have 2 hooks on your bait at all times. So the last thing you're going to do is to create a perfection knot, and if you remember how to do that from the video, which I think you do, you are going to create a loop like this. Cut that tag off. And now you have an adjustable double hook rig. So let's go ahead and we'll stick a worm on the smaller ones and we'll take a look to see what they look like. All right, so if I was baiting for a trout, I have a couple of worms I just picked outside. These are kind of big ones, but you would use this and you could thread the worm right on. So there is just the gob of worm on a single hook. So now let's thread on this guy onto the back hook and the front hook. So let's do the back hook first, where we're going to stick them on the side. So these worms do look different. This one is gobbed on and around the hook, whereas you can see the one with the double hook rig is actually more worm-like and moving around. You can see him kind of moving around. So that would certainly attract trout more than just a gob of worm that looks like it would be just dead in the water. This one's moving around.